Hey everyone, so in this video I would like to say something. Okay, I guess I already said that in a different one. That when I was a child, when I was a child, I don't know how to describe it because it's kind of relating. It's kind of like when I was depressed and I really suicidal. I don't think I could describe that because it's about how you perceive reality. And that is also kind of like that, how I was perceiving reality when I was younger was just different. So it's like, I can keep talking whatever, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to, anyway, so when I was a child and I would wake up or whatever, I would see, and on some days I guess, whatever, as if everyone is the same. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is here that when I was like later on, like in life, maybe 2017 or something, I don't know, I was like living life or something. I don't know why I'm like worrying, like not that I would lose anything because I don't really have, unless somebody just kicks me out from, and then I'm just gonna hang with the homeless people that I feel so unfair that they exist. Anyway, so, or I'll just, never mind. So, sorry, this bag is just literally like having better life than I right now. I was like walking in cycles from like this like bottom to like volume or something, like, or so I think, right? Anyway, let's just say it, I guess. I can always like say again, right? This is like too weird though, but and it's like one of the reasons why I feel safe hatred to my own self lately. But yeah, when I was like in 2017 or something, I know, I guess I was just like somehow, regardless how, whatever, I guess I just kind of felt or something. Bottom line is that again, I was just like trying to kind of perceive my parents as they're not my parents. And after a while of like things like that, I was like creating art and this and that. Someday I was like able to record a video of like me singing or something, right? And okay, how to say that? I guess I said that like when I was a child it was natural for me because it's not some hateful thing, oh my god, I didn't see my parents like this and that. It comes from that beautiful place of realizing that everything that you feel is one and connected, so why would you feel anything bad? Again, one of the reasons why I hate society. But then again, it's part of me. I love my life. Anyway, I wanted to say that like, I guess I made that video or something, and I would give so much to just be. Okay, whatever. I'm so scared, guys. Like, life is so weird, and I don't really see people even talk about things like that, but maybe it's just me anyway. played a video to my parents, right? And what I saw, the reaction was unreal. Like, I mean, anyway, right? Everyone has their own brain or whatever. You think for yourself, right? But I know what I saw, and it was the reality, the real here, you know. My mom, I was like playing like a few seconds into the video of me singing. Why does it feel so cringy to talk about this? Like, what? I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. It's so scary. I mean, I guess if I'm gonna say it, maybe you'll understand why. My mom suddenly felt, that was a bad sentence, but felt like, no. My mom, I was like seeing my mom, right? She was like sitting in across the room, whatever, right? And her body suddenly just frozen. I was just like in a very specific place in that my life, I guess, was more calm or whatever, this and that. I had way more, I would say, shield from like people like around me and just like negative things or whatever. So yeah, but I saw my mom, her body, like physical body, just mom question mark. Yeah, anyway, like her body just like frozen for a second, her mouth and eyes open up, and I'm not being hateful. I'm like a person who's just gonna judge someone because like their body, you know what I mean, like, and it was also very serious, I would say, situation. You know, you can laugh and joke about things like around you, but that was like different or whatever, right? So yeah, like her body suddenly just frozen. It felt for me as if she's like a robot suddenly. Like, sorry to say that, but looking at that, like, you know, like experiencing that situation within my life, it was just like unreal. She literally like had her eyes open up so much. Like, I don't know how that physically, for me, it looked impossible, but then again, I don't know. It looked kind of more like, you know, like you watch those like weird pictures from a war, or like, oh, my stomach just spoke. And you see like those people like in those like pain or whatever. Again, I don't know what photos are real or not, or whatever, but regardless about that, for me, seeing that, it felt very weird, unusual. So she froze into that kind of mode, and she literally didn't move for a second, or I don't know, like time concepts or whatever. But then after that like opening your mouth to from an unrealistic way to me, and her eyes, scary. Scary, okay? You don't understand. If your power would do that, tell me how you feel. And then after that, her body just kind of really suddenly kind of like changed, like her posture changed. Like, you know, like sometimes you're tired or this and that, so your kind of like posture changes, whatever. But that was like weird again, like it's literally kind of like as if you're I don't know how to compare that to, like, it was just like unreal. I don't know how to describe that, but it was scary. And yeah, it was scary. It maybe looked like as if something left her body, someone might say, which would make sense from other memories that I have as a child, as my mom would have weird, it's just like, I don't know what the hell happened to my mom, if she even is my mom, right? But, I don't know. I was always like so scared of my mom. Sometimes she would have like those like collapses or whatever. Again, I guess I'm just like more sensitive because like other people from my family, I wouldn't call them normal. But yeah, weird situation. Still cannot find a explanation of that. I don't really know even where to find like you know, like I want to know what happened to my mom. I want you to tell me that. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm so sorry, like this happened to you. Like, oh, maybe you want a pill because it was so traumatic. Not my vibe. But then again, like, you know, I did. Wow, sounds so bad. Yeah, anyway, okay, the message of that story was supposed to be that after all those weird experiences or whatever, right, there was like better experience where I knew my mom is not my mom. Like, I just lived according to that. It was just like, dude, I know, stop. And then there was like this beautiful day. I don't really have anyone really politically in my life. Those are there, like, I'm sorry, I know who you are. But I guess, I don't know, I'm here to lose. But I had that moment in another day, like, I think it was after that experience that I just described. I think it was Mother's Day or something like that, regardless. And I don't know, something like my mom was crying or something, and somehow, again, maybe because I didn't have all those concepts of she's this and that, blah, 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 that I didn't even create it, and that also annoys me to have things like that. I don't know if that's impossible to ever free yourself, and then again, you're gonna get across the idea of like what life is in self, things like that. But yeah, like I was able to look at my mom. Life felt so good back then. It felt good, but I also had like in the back like those traumatic experiences that was still somewhere like, you know, slowing me down, but it was still very, it was different. It was like there was just something that I tried to gain back ever since someone that I know committed suicide, okay? Yeah, anyway, but I was like looking at my mom or whatever, right? And I felt like she, for the first time, allowed me to see herself, like in her eyes. And she was like so beautiful as a human, you know what I mean? And again, it's I'm like so kind of, I guess, preachy about the idea of like how I wish people would see each other, between each other, whatever. Not saying that I'm there or anything, she was very beautiful, and it was like one of those surreal moments in life, I guess. It should be surreal that I'm saying, and that I'm calling that surreal, okay? But it's okay. Anyway, I was like able to say to her, I don't know if I really said that, but I just kind of looked at her, and I guess, so weird. Makes me feel like I'm in hell again. Just damn. I guess I can say that. No, but please don't. Sorry, like he's gonna come into my come on my phone. Yep. Wow, he actually, like, the bag didn't, like, have you got, like, calm on the phone? Like, walk on the phone or something? He gonna pass it through, okay, cool. Anyway, so, I think at this point I kind of feel like maybe my mom is, like, still here. My mom, like, you know what I mean? We gotta, like, that's the other thing that annoys me about society. I feel like people forgotten. Maybe it's just people around me. That's what also I hate. I don't know if, like, I'm just, like, making a fool of myself here because everyone else is living normally, but who cares, right? I mean, if you're a nice, loving person, I guess that wouldn't matter what I did, right? Do you know, like, some limits of, like, you know what I mean? Not really, you know. Anyway, but what I was trying to say is, yeah, that I feel like I'm going through that situation of my mom. Yeah, anyway, I feel like people have that weird thing where we kind of, like, don't live, like, from that standpoint of, like, realizing that we don't know nothing. Like, yeah, okay, we can, wow, that's too far. I would think about things like that when I was even younger, like, whatever, but, like, things can change just the way that they are changing, right? Like, everything that we know right now might just not exist, like, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like people were kind of put here in a way, let's just call it like that. Today, maybe let's call it what I kind of feel like. That, like, people are here somehow put, right, whatever, you know, just the way that, like, you wake up, like, you suddenly have body fear, like, decides to not work. That's what you kind of have to deal with. So, again, like, I wish people had, again, that standpoint of, like, realizing that, like, we're just here. Yes, you can call things, we have a this and that, but it's not some, like, ultimate thing. And if it is, then I guess people are treating each other as some kind of gods, I would assume, right? Because, like, we can call, we have our toys here, we have our ideas, but are we really in charge? Because I don't know. But people, and again, that's, like, the stupid thing, right? Like, talking about this. I hate that. My stomach is making sounds again. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, maybe that should be considered as, like, some kind of mental, like, sickness that actually people do think that they know. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that attitude of, like, some people, I feel like, you know, like, they don't have that thing of, like, realizing that, like, all of this, like, okay, we don't know everything or something, you know what I mean? Like, people, the back again. Anyway, like, that's what I was just trying to say, is that like I feel like some people are just like so stuck into those ideas that people somehow created. Don't make me name reasons and justifications. I don't want to be in trouble. If you have a little of brain, you can figure it out, I guess. But yeah, anyway, again, it's I'm always trying to like talk with that kind of idea that right away puts away those like things that could be touchy, I assume, and it's already I would feel like the end result that I would want to like achieve by even talking about those things, right? All those like unnecessary in a way things, right? But yeah, anyway, I don't know if I did a good job today, honestly, with those videos. Yeah, anyway, so anyway, I don't think that I finished it. Like I was like having like that moment, like I guess with like my mom, where I was just like seeing her beautiful, and I was able to grasp her tear from her face, and I wish I could see that beauty, because I find that kind of beauty neutral. I find that it's something that humans have just because they're human, and I just don't understand why people don't try to reach and grasp that. But I guess everyone has their own ways. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I could do something like, yeah, anyway, things that changed since that time. Yeah. By the way, like my mom was like, yeah, she passed away. Stomach, okay. I don't know about this video. Like I keep talking about my mom, but then I'm not saying that she's not. And yeah. Anyway, well, I guess that's gonna be all. I'm so afraid again of that weird feeling that tomorrow is gonna be the same. Ever since I did that other video, though, that day didn't happen again, though. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's gonna happen in my future, but maybe I'll be able. If something bad's gonna happen again, I'm gonna forget those things. Maybe I'll remember a little bit. Unless it's gonna hit harder, and I'm not. So at least you saw that. Okay, that's all.